Yep,
Let me
no
introduce Sophie Barrett, who's the Programme Officer, and she works with me in my team in professionals and practice in health influencing in Age UK. And Sophie's going to talk to us about winter resilience, how we can support older people to be robust and resilient for winter.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, you need to go to
slideshow.
slideshow.
Yeah, I will do.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
I'm just going to put it on present view. Okay, can you see that perfectly?
Yeah, brilliant.
Fab. Thank you, Leslie. So yes, hello everybody. I am Sophie, and as Leslie said, I'm the Programme Officer in the Health Influencing team at Age UK. Today, I'm going to be discussing winter resilience and how we can support older people to be winter ready. So obviously, a lot of the things that have been discussed today can be really exacerbated during the winter months, and it's important for us to look at how we can kind of help older people and support them, educate them so that they are in the best position through the winter period. So we know that every winter is a particularly challenging time for older people, but as we have seen from the last couple of winters, and now what we expect from this upcoming winter is likely to be even tougher. We know that cold weather, seasonal infections, and difficulty sustaining activity levels and social connection can all lead to decrease in physical and mental health, unfortunately, for many older people, can lead to a hospital admission and being particularly unwell. We know, as quite a few speakers have already mentioned, that older people living with frailty or one or multiple long-term conditions often experience longer stays once they're in hospital and require additional support on discharge. And we know, obviously, that malnutrition can be a contributing factor to all this. So it's important for us to understand exactly why winter is particularly hard for older people. Obviously, winter can be hard for everybody, but older people are particularly susceptible to the colder weather and to some of the things that come about through the winter period. So as also mentioned by quite a few of the previous speakers, we know that many older people are living with either one or multiple long-term conditions. We know things such as COPD, asthma, arthritis can get worse in the winter months. This is because obviously the symptoms can become more severe in the winter months as the weather drops and we experience more cold temperatures, but also because these conditions can be harder to actually manage. We know that people are moving about a lot less, less likely to go out, and so this can all exacerbate the conditions that they have. We know that lower temperatures themselves are often a struggle for older people who are often less able to regulate their temperature, which puts a strain on the heart and the circulatory system. And this is why we know that strokes and heart attacks are more common in the winter months. We know that there's also an increased risk of falls. This is obviously because there's more slippery surfaces outside with the ice and water, but also because older people are less likely to be moving about, doing as much, and this can lead to some muscle deconditioning, loss of muscle strength and balance. We know that loneliness is a problem all year round, but particularly in the winter months when a lot of older people might not be going out as much, might not be meeting up with their support networks as much. This has a huge impact on their physical and mental health, which we know also includes malnutrition. And we know that loneliness and isolation can be a huge predictor of hospital admissions. Respiratory diseases, as we're aware of, flu, COVID, and also other things like RSV are much more common in the winter months. And we know that older people are more susceptible to the more extreme end of those illnesses and unfortunately can often end up in hospital. So these are the types of things that happen every winter, but as we've seen in the last couple of winters and what we expect to be the struggle for this coming winter is some additional challenges. We know that the energy and cost of living crisis is still very much around, and whilst this impacts everybody, older people who are generally less able to increase their income or are starting from a much lower income, they feel the cold more for the reasons I've already described, and they often spend a lot more time in their homes, which has a huge impact on their heating bills. We've heard, sadly, from a lot of older people who are sacrificing food in order to meet these higher energy bills, which for all the reasons mentioned today is absolutely not what we want. We know that the cost of living crisis doesn't just impact older people themselves, but unfortunately, all of the organisations, VCSE organisations, care homes, and other support organisations, they're also impacted by higher costs. So there's an impact on the older person, but then also people that are there to support them. As we already mentioned, respiratory diseases, we know these surge in the winter months. COVID is very much not gone away. We've definitely been hearing a lot more people having it recently. And of course, flu, etc., surges during the winter months, which is why a big part of our winter messaging is always to go and get vaccinated, which my colleague Jenny will be discussing to you later today. We're also very aware that the health and care system is under a huge amount of pressure, and whilst every winter there's a huge strain, we know that this year, for various reasons, there will be a lot of older people that may not be able to get the support that they need when they need it within the health and care system. So it's sort of a perfect storm this winter. And there's some polling insight here. This is actually from last winter, and we have undertaken similar polling this year, but we're just waiting for the results of that. We expect these numbers to be higher this winter. Particularly concerning for this group will be 20% of older people worried they'd not be able to eat enough, but also people worried about the winter in general and being able to heat their home. These are some quotes undertaken from survey that actually did happen in September, so this is this year. And it kind of just, I won't read them out, they're very sad, but it's a good insight into the reality of what winter means for a lot of older people. And I think sometimes you can see figures, but when you actually hear people and how scared they are and how worried they are about the upcoming winter, it really puts into perspective. So it's a very real situation for many older people out there. And it's important for us to think about what we can do to help support older people. So every year we run a winter health campaign, and the main messages of our winter health campaign are making sure that people stay warm, they keep eating and hydrated, they have a winter-proof and foolproof home, they look after their mental health, they stay active, they get vaccinated, and they access all the financial benefits they're entitled to, which we know for many, many years, a lot of these financial benefits do go unclaimed. So it's very important that people are aware of the support that's out there and that they have support in accessing this. So as I mentioned, this is our winter health campaign. This is the national winter health campaign, but all of our local AGKs also run their own winter work. What we do is we send out, as we mentioned, education is very important. So we send out top tips, postcards, posters, winter wrapped up guides, all these resources that have all the information focusing on the key topics I've just mentioned. We send them out to all of our local partners, but also our retail shops, our volunteer leads, and our corporate partners, trying to get these messages out as far as wide as possible and hope that they pass those on to older people. We cascade Met Office cold weather alerts. We use our media, social media, and Winter Hub to share information and advice directly to older people and those that support them. We have this year and last year partnered with the UK Health Security Agency and NHS England to send out a winter support leaflet to all those receiving cold weather payment. And as I said, we support our local AGKs with their range of support services for older people during the winter months, which it's fantastic work, and it varies from lots of different things to befriending calls and visits, to delivering hot meals, to providing emergency heaters and all sorts of other resources, and advice on keeping homes warm. And then we support Age UK London specifically with vaccine uptake information sessions, and they provide an excellent vaccine toolkit to really get that message out there to encourage vaccination. This is just an example of our resources that we are sending out this year, and all of these resources will be available on the My Nutrition Task Force website, but also at Age UK's website if you want to download those. And we send these out in hard copy, as I mentioned, to all of our partners and retail shops. This year, we have a new Age UK Professional Hub on the main Age UK website, which is a great resource to provide all the tailored information and advice for both professionals, but also to be used to signpost to older people. So we really encourage you to sign up for the monthly professional newsletter, which goes out every month. And there's also a dedicated winter section within the hub which has all of the winter advice and resources that you can use for both your own understanding, but also to signpost to older people. So that is it from me, and please do get in touch if you've got any questions, or if there's any on the chat, I'll be happy to answer them.
So much is being done by Age UK to support people through the winter, because we know how tough it's going to be. And I think Sophie was talking about the survey. We haven't got all the results, but some of the results that we're seeing are pretty rough, pretty awful, very sad. People are really struggling.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, we need to try and support people even more. So all the professionals out there, I would urge you to have a look at the new professional hub. Because we will have lots of information for you to share with the older people that you look after, so that you can speak in their language, and the resources are what they've helped to co-design. So we know that older people understand what we're saying in the resources. So thank you very much, Sophie. And any questions, just pop in the chat and I can send it off to Sophie. Thank you.
Thank you.